In today's video, we have some updated NHL trade rumors on guys like Max Pacioretty and Seguin. We also have a big update on the health of Henrik Zetterberg of the Detroit Red Wings, and a couple more players have accepted offers to go to training camp on some professional tryouts. We'll discuss all of that coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, we have a lot of different things to cover today here, so let's jump right in. Let's get started here with a couple of players accepting deals to go to training camp on some professional tryouts. The Edmonton Oilers have come to terms on a professional tryout agreement with defenseman Garrison. So Garrison will attend training camp, see how he does, and obviously will be working hard to obtain a contract here from the Oilers. If he does, it's believed they'd be interested in maybe signing him on a one-year deal. Obviously, the Oilers have been searching for answers here since they were revealed earlier this offseason that defenseman Seguin suffered a serious injury during offseason training and will be out probably somewhere around 6 to 8 months. Obviously, Garrison's been an NHL veteran here for a while, but he spent last year playing in the American Hockey League. He was part of the Vegas Golden Knights team, but did not cut the main roster and ended up spending the season in Chicago at the American Hockey League. So we'll see what Garrison can do and if he can earn himself a contract. The Oilers also recently signed defenseman Pacioretty to a one-year deal. Obviously, he's on a firm contract, though, not a PTO. I guess we'll see here between Zetterberg and Garrison if they can kind of use that as a stopgap measure until Seguin returns, or maybe if things don't work out, that we may have to see another move here out of the Oilers. But obviously, we do have concerns about the Oilers' defense, and obviously, I'm not sure Jason Garrison is going to be a huge help to that, but obviously, he is a veteran there, might be able to play some minutes while waiting for Seguin to return. Former Edmonton Oilers defenseman Brandon Davidson has come to terms on a professional tryout agreement with the Chicago Blackhawks. We had reported here not too long ago that Brandon Davidson was also offered a PTO by the Edmonton Oilers, but turned it down. Obviously, we said in that video that he likely had either a PTO or a official contract lined up with another team. It is believed, though, the Hawks were pretty serious about signing him to a one-year deal, but they've decided to go with a PTO here instead. So if he has a good training camp, he likely will get a one-year contract out of Chicago. Probably not for a lot of money, probably like a one-year deal around either $1 million or maybe a little less, $800,000-900,000, something to that effect. Obviously, the Blackhawks do have some holes on defense and need to fill some gaps there. The Blackhawks do have some pretty promising young defensemen, like an Adam Boqvist, but obviously he's going to be a year or two away from playing in the NHL. They likely give some playing time this year to prospect defenseman Henrik Zetterberg as well, but obviously they do need to have a little bit more experience on that back end to kind of fill some of those gaps. So we'll see how things go for Brandon Davidson and if he can earn himself a contract. We do have a big update here on the health of the Red Wings captain Henrik Zetterberg. Now, Henrik Zetterberg himself finally did speak out yesterday in an interview and did confirm that his back has been having a lot of trouble over the summer and he will not be able to attend Red Wings training camp here when it opens in a few weeks' time. So obviously he is going to miss at least the beginning of the season, but more than likely he will be out for the entire year. Henrik Zetterberg did confirm that he was hoping this wasn't the end of the road here, that he wants to get his back situation fixed up and resolved so he can resume playing hockey and hopefully play out the remainder of his contract with the Detroit Red Wings. Obviously, Henrik Zetterberg's had a fantastic career. It certainly would be a shame if this is the end for Zetterberg to go out like this. He's pretty close to achieving some pretty big career milestones as well. Zetterberg has appeared in 1,082 NHL games, putting up 960 points, so it certainly would be a shame if Hank's career came to an end. He wasn't able to achieve that 1,000-point mark. Obviously, with the way he's been producing over the last few years, even with his play declining a little bit, if he is able to play one more season, he'll get at least the 40 points to hit that 1,000-point plateau, which is certainly a major milestone for many NHL players. So it would certainly be great to see, after having the great career he's had and been a great leader for the Red Wings for so long, for him to be able to achieve that. So hopefully at some point here, Zetterberg can make a return, even if it's only brief enough to hit that milestone. It'd be great for him to accomplish that for sure. But more than likely, though, if Zetterberg misses training camp, he hasn't been able to train all summer. Even if he's able to find some solutions for his back here over the next couple of months, by the time he would be able to get himself into game shape, I think it's highly unlikely here that we do see Zetterberg play this year. The odds are certainly against him for sure. I mean, you never know if maybe towards the end of the season, regardless of where things are at with the Red Wings and the standings, obviously they're not expected to be an overly competitive playoff team this year. But I guess you never know, they may surprise us. But even if they're out of the race for the playoffs, and if he's able to, he may want to try to come back for a few games at the end of the year just to have that peace of mind to know that his back's feeling better, and so he can head into next offseason training feeling a little bit better about the situation. So time will tell, but unfortunately it is looking very, very likely that Henrik Zetterberg misses the entire year, and at the very least he is missing training camp and will not be with Detroit to at least start the season. So let's jump over now and take a look at the NHL trade rumor updates concerning Max Pacioretty as well as Tyler Seguin. Now let's get started here with the Habs captain, Max Pacioretty. Yesterday he was holding a charity golf tournament, which he normally holds every summer in the Montreal area. Obviously he had invited many of the Habs brass and former players and current players to attend the tournament. There was a lot of speculation leading up to this that the Habs general manager Marc Bergevin, owner Jeff Molson, and maybe members of the coaching staff may not even be present at the tournament. Obviously, Pacioretty's been, surrounded by trade rumors. There was, a heavy thing going on at the draft where he was almost traded. That did not happen because he turned down the contract extension that came with it from the other side, which was believed to be the LA Kings. And this is the first time we've really seen any kind of public appearance with all of these guys together. And you could certainly tell it was incredibly awkward tension in the air. You could just tell the way they were interacting with each other that things were just kind of weird and not... just not normal for sure. So I'm going to link a video down below in the description from Sportsnet where they, on the Tim and Sid show, where they were discussing the tournament and the situation and the interaction amongst everybody. And it just was really, really weird. You could tell that there was some really awkward tension. So if things weren't apparent before that Max was going to be traded, I think it's even more clear now. He did conduct some interviews with the media at this tournament as well, and he did confirm that there really isn't any ongoing discussions for a contract. We've heard earlier this offseason here that the Habs were not really interested in signing him long-term, which really is kind of weird when you think about it. He's been their captain now for a little while. He's been a great player for them for many years, being their top goal scorer most seasons as well. Why they would not want to commit to this player longer term, in my opinion, is very mind-boggling, and I don't understand it at all. Now, he's on a very team-friendly contract right now, only making $4.5 million. Obviously, he's due for a big raise. I could understand with things where they're at with the Habs and, kind of going through a retool or a rebuild or whatever you want to call it here. Obviously, they're going through a transition phase. That maybe they don't want to have too many other bigger contracts. Obviously, they get Weber and they get Price. And at this point in time, they're probably not real fond of those contracts based on those players' recent performance and health issues and whatnot. So I do understand, but at the same time, somebody's got to put the puck in the net, and this guy is fully capable. Now, the big issues, though, are not with Price and Weber. Typically, they're very strong players, and they need to surround them here with some stronger players to move this team forward. And really, Max Pacioretty is a great player to get started with. So I'm not sure what the holdup here or what the real issues are between the team and the player. But obviously, you could tell that things were incredibly awkward. And if I wasn't convinced before that he was going to be traded, I am more convinced now than ever. You can tell there's a really big awkwardness there between management and the player. You could tell he's obviously not happy with how he's been treated, and you can likely tell that the team really is looking to move on here, and things are just kind of awkward. They're making appearances here just for the sake of showing their face, but didn't really feel comfortable being there by the looks of it. So Pacioretty is believed, obviously, to go to training camp with Montreal. There's no issues that way. Could there be a trade before training camp gets underway? It is possible, but seems unlikely at this point in time. So hard to say where Pacioretty goes. I mean, in the past, he's been linked to teams like the LA Kings, the San Jose Sharks, the St. Louis Blues, the Florida Panthers. All those teams were the main ones mentioned in other trade rumors in past trade talk. But at this point in time, we've seen LA sign Ilya Kovalchuk after that trade didn't materialize at the draft. So with their situation, they're out of the running now. You saw the Florida Panthers are pretty tight to the cap now. They acquired Mike Hoffman, through San Jose via Ottawa. And then at the same time, they just recently brought in Troy Brouwer. Like, they're pretty tight to the cap. So the Panthers are not really in a situation without sending out significant money to bring him in. The St. Louis Blues had a ton of moves this offseason. They're pretty tight to the cap. So that likely isn't going to happen. So really the only team that was mentioned before that was looking to make a big move and could be interested in Pacioretty would be the Sharks. Now, of course, the only problem is that most teams looking to acquire him are likely, for the price that Montreal wants, are going to want an extension, and they may end up having to trade him as a rental if they're insistent on doing that and accept a lower return than they're expecting. Now moving on to Tyler Seguin here of the Dallas Stars. Now obviously Seguin isn't due for a major contract coming up here as well. He's going into the final year of his existing contract. There was some contract extension talks apparently earlier this summer at the draft, and things have been quiet since then. Now, anytime Jim Nill's been asked about this, general manager for the Dallas Stars, he's been indicating that there's ongoing discussion and that they're just going to leave it at that. They haven't come to an agreement as of right now. but talks are ongoing. But according to Tyler Seguin, his words were that he was very disappointed they don't have something figured out by now, and that the contract talks have been really quiet ever since the NHL draft. So those two comments really contradict each other here. So hard to say what's really going on in Dallas, but obviously they're having a difficult time coming to an agreement. It's believed that Tyler Seguin is looking for money similar to what John Tavares received with the Maple Leafs, around $11 million, or at least close to that. I mean, if you take a look at Tyler Seguin's numbers compared to John Tavares, and even compare him to Stars captain Jamie Benn, because part of this is also believed that the Dallas Stars are really hesitant to do any new contracts where anybody's paid more than Jamie Benn. But the problem with this is that contract's been in place now for Ben for a couple of years. The salary cap situation has changed a fair bit here, with it going up about $6.5 million since that was negotiated. So you need to look more at the percentages here than anything else. So I'm not sure what the holdup is for Dallas to really, offer Seguin the proper amount of money, because I think he's certainly earned himself a nice new contract for sure. He's been one of the most productive players in the NHL. But let's just do a quick comparison here of Tyler Seguin to Jamie Benn and John Tavares. Now, what I've looked at here is I've compared these three guys over the last 5 seasons. Obviously, taking a look at Tyler Seguin here first. In the last 5 years, Seguin scored 173 goals, put up 384 points, averaging him just shy of a point per game, because during that same 5-year span, he's played 387 games. Comparing him to Jamie Benn, the captain of the Dallas Stars, who he obviously plays a lot with as well. Jamie Benn has very, very similar stats. Jamie Benn has put up 173 goals, 403 points in 404 games. So he's pretty well just shy of a point per player game over that same period. So their stats are incredibly similar. You can't get much more close than that. John Tavares has put up 160 goals and 372 points over the past 5 seasons. While appearing in 378 games played, we give him a point per total game of .98. So Seguin and Benn actually both have a smidge higher point per game total than John Tavares does. Now, currently, Jamie Benn's earning $9.5 million. And like I said, that contract was negotiated and signed 2 years ago in 2016. So since then, with the salary cap increases, obviously things have gone up a fair bit. At that point in time, Jamie Benn worked out the beginning 13% of the salary cap on that contract. If you work out 13% of the current salary cap for Tyler Seguin, if they were going to do a comparable type of deal, that would give him around $10.3 to $10.4 million. And then they'd be paid, based on salary cap changes and percentages. That would be the fair way of doing it, I think. Now, of course, that's a little bit shy of John Tavares' money. He was giving a little bit higher percentage than either of these other deals that we're talking about here. But really, I think they could come to terms somewhere in between here. Somewhere between 10.3 and 11. I wouldn't think there'd be that much of a gap that they could get this done, lock him up for 7 or 8 years. He's also the youngest of these 3 players. He's a year younger than John Tavares and a couple years younger than Jamie Benn. So I'm not sure what the holdup is, but obviously if they do have too much difficulty coming to terms here on a new contract, Tyler Seguin could possibly be traded. I'm sure Dallas Stars fans don't want to see that happen, and I don't blame them. Dallas Stars really shouldn't be looking to trade Tyler Seguin. They should be able to get this contract done and move forward here. But if they're that much reluctant to not pay more than Jamie Benn or to come close to Tavares' money, then they are going to be obviously in a situation where they could be at high risk to lose Tyler Seguin next season. Tyler Seguin could be the 2019 version of what John Tavares went through here. He's gonna have teams lining up to talk to him and be in a similar situation, being one of the top players in the game. So obviously that's going to fuel a lot of speculation around Seguin's future with the Dallas Stars, and could certainly lead to him maybe being traded near the deadline if there's not a deal in place for an extension to protect themselves from losing him in the summer for nothing. So let me know down in the comments section below, what do you think of the recent updates here on Pacioretty and Seguin? Are we going to see these players traded sooner than later? I would think Pacioretty would be more likely than Seguin. I think the Stars will hang on as long as they possibly can and try to get a deal done here before they move on from Tyler Seguin, but I guess only time will tell here. Hopefully they do the right thing and pay him appropriately, because he's certainly earned that contract for sure, in my opinion. Now, if you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.